Now, it's a pretty common occurrence to have a dependency that you don't have control over. For example, in our tracking service, we now need a notifier for our code to work, but we might not be responsible for writing that notifier code. Perhaps another team is working on that code, and we want to still be able to test our code. This is where we can use a stub. So what we can do is we can basically create a new class, and we'll call this notifier stub, and we're going to implement this interface of this notifier type. And what we can do is just basically nothing here. Instead of actually sending a message, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to return true. We're always going to pretend like we are sending the message. Now, we could make this stub a little bit smarter. We could make it so that it has some method that we can set ahead of time to tell it what to return. In this case, though, I'm just going to make it hard code this return true. Now, what we can do is we can use this stub in our tracking service in order to just pretend like it is hooked up to the real notifier. This will allow us to test our code in isolation. In order to use this notifier, we'll also want to go back into our tracking service. Let's create a constructor that will set up this notifier. So we'll do public tracking service. And inside here, we'll take in a notifier. And then we'll go ahead and set this just by assigning this to the field notifier. So now all of our tests are broken. If you look at our test code, you can see that there's errors. We have quite a few errors because these tests are trying to be run by Infinitest, and also because an empty constructor is not defined on the tracking service. So if we can go in to all of our tests, and we can fix this by having this pass in a new notifier stub. I'll just go ahead and copy this code. And we'll go to each one of those places, paste this in. And now our stub is going to be used for all those tests. So you can see that all our tests are passing now with the use of that stub. But we're not actually testing anything yet. So now we need to create a test case that will actually utilize that functionality of the stub.